Hey, what is going on, everybody? Happy Monday to you. Welcome back to another episode of the Daley Move Podcast. What a better way to start off your week with a new rendition of the Daley Move Podcast, the Coach's Corner. And what we're doing with the Coach's Corner, it's going to be an interview-based podcast. It's going to be coaches from South Jersey, players from South Jersey, coaches from anywhere in the nation, players from anywhere in the nation, anywhere that we can get on. Anybody that we can get on is going to be an interview-based show. It'll air on Mondays, and I figure what better way to start off our first episode than bringing in the head man himself, the president of the West Jersey Football Coaches Association. As always, I'm joined by my man, Coach Move Scanlon, but we're excited to welcome in head coach at West Deptford High School, Coach John Emel. Coach, I appreciate you joining us and taking the time with us here today.
I'm a big fan of the show. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Listen. Yeah, and listen, we got to talk about the elephant in the room that dropped last week, Coach. Major news out of the South Jersey coaching world. Coach Bill Belton from Winslow making the move down to St. Augustine. Give us your quick thoughts on that. Did you see it coming? Was it unexpected to you, or what are your thoughts on the move, and how does it kind of change the landscape of South Jersey football here?
Coach Move or Coach Emel? You said
no, Coach Emel, my bad.
I thought you said Coach Move. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think first off, Bill's done a tremendous job at Winslow. Obviously, he's played anyone and everyone. Coming from Penn State, coming back to high school, he obviously brings a pedigree of being a tremendous player. He was a tremendous player in high school, a tremendous player in college.
Coach, he was fun to watch in high school, man.
Brings a competitive mentality back to Winslow, his alma mater, and he's been there for a little while. He was the OC under Kenny. And I just think, in terms of, I don't know, what's a young guy, what's an old guy? I think, I like to think I'm still fairly young, but, Bill's 33. So he's definitely one of the best young guys in our profession. And this is definitely a profession, we're 12 months a year, all day going at it. And I think Bill's a huge name, and he's got a bright future, bright present, and he's going to St. Augie's, and St. Augie's is the one, parochial school we have that's in parochial A. They're the only ones that are competing for, honestly, the winner of that's going to be the number one team in the state every year. So for one of the biggest young names to take over the biggest private school in South Jersey, it's definitely a historic day, and we'll see what happens from here on.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's
Coach
awesome.
Move, I know you got some stuff. Coach, you're the head coach at West Deptford, obviously, but you also are the spearhead of Battle at the Beach. Coach Move, kind of talk to Coach Emel a little bit about, a Battle at the Beach and what you got for him.
Yeah, so I think too, man, like you said with Coach Bell, and I was saying, he was fun to watch in high school, wasn't he? He was electric as a quarterback, makes the move to running back when he goes up to Penn State. And you're right, it's a high-profile move. There's big things to come, but probably the biggest thing to come to kick off each season that like you said, not only get your own program juiced if you're a part of it, but all of South Jersey, I would say outside of your sectional championship and beyond weekend, it's the best event that we have. It's a championship caliber program, but Battle at the Beach, right? You're one of the masterminds behind it with you and Coach McEwen from Collinswood. You guys have been developing this. Can you talk to us about what goes into it each year, inviting programs to come play, and then how does a move like this possibly alter the lineup that we have coming up this fall?
So let me just, for those that don't know, Coach, you just were reminiscing there on me, and I know a lot about high school football. I'm a huge fan of all you guys and all the programs. I remember when Bill was a junior quarterback, and they were putting up his stats, and they were like, it was controversial because everyone's like, I don't think his team had a great record. They might have been like 5-5 or 6-4, by today's standards. But Bill was putting up these monster stats where everyone said, hey, he's the first quarterback to throw for 2,000 yards and rush for 1,000. Yeah. And nobody believed him because, we didn't have games on YouTube every week. We had to read in the paper the next day. And people were like, hey, these are made up. And I remember Kevin Minnick, who has NJ.com now, he would watch the games on film, and the senior he covered Bill. And it was like verified on video that he put up these numbers.
Smart.
And he had 2 seasons where he threw for 2,000 and rushed for 1,000. And now that's a little more common. It's a little more common. It's still crazy. This was, over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's my first, insight of Bill Belton. He went on to Penn State, play running back. I think the Battle of the Beach, Coach Scanlon, you were on the text when it started. Yeah. It came out of COVID because Mike McEwen had reserved Ocean City, and he wanted to play a game against a team from California.
Yeah,
he was going to travel to California, and then the team from California was going to come to Ocean City, and then COVID happened.
Yeah,
and we actually at the time we had played Union City, Tennessee. They were the 2A state champ. They won about 5 2A state titles. We played them in 2018. They came to Pennsgrove when we had a 13-0 season. They played us, and they went to made like a week of it. They came up here. Principal came. Everybody came. They visited 9/11, the 9/11 memorial, played us, and then drove home on a bus. I said, man, that was the greatest experience ever, playing a team I'd never heard of, them coming up here. So the next year we scheduled Linganore, Maryland. We were 12-1 in 2019. Linganore, Maryland, there's only, I think, 3A or 4A school classes in Maryland. They won like 3 or 4 3A state championships. I would compare them to Delsey. You know anything about South Jersey football? Linganore is like Delsey. They actually won the 3A state title again last year. So they've had more success than me since 2019, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But Linganore, went down to Linganore senior night. What an awesome atmosphere. We beat them 35-8. They went 12-2. They lost to us, and they lost to Damascus in the championship game. And they had the number 1 player in the country, went to Clemson, who I think won a national title the year before. Wow. So we play these teams, and when you go to these clinics and you see these coaches from other states, they don't know who you are, but they know who these teams you're playing. And I thought it was the greatest experience. And we were going to go to Pittsburgh and play Clareton, very good school in Pittsburgh, and then COVID happened. So COVID stopped the California team from coming here, stopped us from going to Pittsburgh to play in what was called Western PA versus everybody.
Yeah,
it's at Woodland Hills. It's at Rob Gronkowski's high school. And that's kind of where this idea stemmed from, all these things. So Mike had Ocean City kick back to 2021, and I said, I want to play in Ocean City. Why don't we play back-to-back? And then what happened is back-to-back turned into, hey, why don't we have it for 3 days, bring in a bunch of teams that represent South Jersey, kind of like the Western PA versus everybody. We can give the money to charity. It'd be a great opportunity to showcase our kids, showcase football in South Jersey, raise money for these different organizations that our players are a part of and recognized by. And all that came together, probably playing, 2018 against the South State team, and then, COVID and everything else. So that brings us to this year. This will be our 6th year. I can't believe it. Started in 2021, our 6th year. I remember you, Coach Daley. You were in it.
I was telling Coach Move on the podcast earlier last week. Well, we played in the Battle of the Beach. We were the only game where the field lifted up and floated away. We had to drive all the way back to Cherry Hill just to get our butts kicked by Moorestown. But Coach, one question I wanted to piggyback off of that, like you weren't in Ocean City the whole time last year. What did you guys notice was like one of the major differences from having to move off site a little bit rather than playing all your games there, right there at the boardwalk at Carey Stadium?
Well, I think, and this isn't a knock on anything else. I could pull up the numbers. I don't want to switch the screen. I want to be here, but we were at EHT in 2024, and they were a great host. They were a great host. We were 2 days there. We played 5 games a day. From a logistical standpoint, it was unbelievable. There was a practice field. You go right on the game field. There's no reduced warm-up time or congestion. I thought the facility was unbelievable. I think the thing that people have come to appreciate, though, from when it started, was it's Battle at the Beach. They want to be at the beach.
Yeah.
I don't care if you can see the ocean, you can hear the seagulls, and you can smell the fries or whatever.
Yeah, you got the Ferris wheel going.
Beach. And I thought Rowan was awesome last year. Last year we came to Rowan for 2 days, and there's a lot of nostalgia there. First off, I'll tell you this just personally. I know Steve was at Clearview. You're at Gateway, Coach. I think the heart of South Jersey football and the championship pedigree comes out of Gloucester County. Yeah. You got Delsey, you got Glassboro, you got Paulsboro, you got Woodbury. Mm-hmm. If there's anybody I'm forgetting, you got West Deptford, where I'm at. So there's been a ton at Washington Township raising the Greek 5 million. I think so. Having it at Rowan and having the backyard of all these traditional Gloucester County powers, that's awesome too. There's a little bit of nostalgia because everybody loved going to the championship games there when the sectional finals were there. So that was great too, but it just wasn't Battle at the Beach. And I've had a nickel for every time somebody said to me, you can't call it Battle at the Beach if it's a rowing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, well,
listen, logistics,
so we're back in Ocean City. I think when we poll the coaches and the fans, as much as they love these other places, they tell you it's the best place is Ocean City, at least for this size.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Coach, let me ask you this, because you guys, besides putting this event together, you've always had a really good pulse of what football is like in different parts of the country, and whether it's you go down and you watch the championships in Georgia, or we talk about teams in Florida, but you talked about these matchups and who they're comparable to in our region. But then for your program this year at West Deptford, you guys are going down to play a game in Florida, correct? Can you tell us about how you put that together, what your administration says when you said, hey, I have this idea, and then what are the logistics behind it, and how do you find a team that kind of matches what you're doing?
Yeah, it's not easy. I think about those matchups, against Union City. They were a midline veer triple option team, very dangerous. Linganore is a 3A power team. We got hot against them. So here was my thought process, and I love being a part of Battle of the Beach, both as organizing it and, seeing teams come in that we don't get to always see. I just think it exposes our kids to other parts of the country, like you said. And I think our kids, I don't care how good our teams are individually, the players on our teams can hold their own against anybody. We have a lot of talent on our teams. I love our small schools, our big schools. And I think our best teams historically, even though they don't always get the opportunity, when they've gone other places, they play very well. You look at the teams from up North Jersey, they've got to go to Florida or Georgia. They hold their own. They do a great job. So I think for us, my thought process was, with the state playoffs and, just the way football is going, college football is becoming harder than ever to get to. Yeah. So my thought process was I want to give our kids, even more so, the best experience possible. And I don't want to say that's like a college-like experience, but I can't guarantee that we're going to be playing in the state championship. But I can create these memorable opportunities in the regular season. I'm going to try to. So I reached out to Joe McColgan. I actually reached out to Florida because, first off, I want to go where it's fairly warm in October and November.
Good call.
So I reached out to Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, and we put an ad on the coaches board because our schedule was new this year.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of control over our schedule, which you don't get but once every couple of years.
Right.
So we said, well, if we're going to do it, we got to do it now. So we made the move in October. We're in the heart of our season. Every team is in the playoffs. The last thing guys want to do is talk about next season. It's just the truth. I do it every year, Battle of the Beach. I'm calling Coach Schatzman before Thanksgiving. He said, Coach, I'm trying to win the state championship. That's great. How about Battle at the Beach next year? so I deal with it all the time. Coach Belton, same thing. The last couple of years at Winslow, great guys to talk to. I appreciate the professionalism and hearing from me. But, so we put a flyer and a team reached out to us, West Nassau. And, here's what I ask, right? When we go out of state, I don't want it to be an easy game. I just want a game where, as I tell people, if we play really well, we can win. If we go down, we got a chance to win. And that's hard to find because we're not a big school. We're a little under 800 for sure. We got, 65 guys in 9 through 12. So we're blue collar, 15 guys in a class, maybe a couple more if we get a big class. So maybe 20 in one and 15 in the others. So, our kids all in, but, we're a small school program. So we have to find a matchup that makes sense because you get these teams like a la Bergen Catholic or an IMG who are always looking for games. They can play anybody because it's hard for them to find games and they have a lot of flexibility in their schedule. So you can play those kind of teams. It's hard to find a really good competitive mid-sized school. So this team reached out and he said, Coach, he introduced himself. We're a small school. And then we got to talking on the phone. And if anybody knows anything about Florida football, we can talk about state to state because I do know a lot about some of those states. Florida is notorious for kids can transfer every season and play right away. So I remember I used to have several players to participate in NLG, and they would go to IMG for 7-on-7. And Marcus Hammond said that, the offense coordinator at Roman Catholic. He said, some of these guys, they play football in the fall, transfer play basketball somewhere else, and transfer play track somewhere else, and then come back and play football at school A. And that blew my mind. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm like, holy cow. I don't know anybody that transfers hardly. This is 10 years ago in 2016, 2017. And, so anyway, so these guys reached out and we exchanged film, and I didn't hear from them for a while. I didn't hear from them. So I didn't hear for about a month. So I sent them 2 games. I figured out they don't want to play me. I sent them 2 games, and they sent me 2 games. And I really didn't even look at it that much. I kind of go on Max Preps, and I look at the national rankings, and I think we were around 3,500, and they might have been 2,800 or vice versa. So we're kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah, same region.
Yeah, they're ranked like probably, let's say, 100 in Florida, and we're maybe ranked 55 in New Jersey. But they have a lot more schools, obviously.
Yeah.
Then we got on the phone, right? So we got on the phone, and he goes, Coach, we're building our program up. He goes, they actually play in what they call the Sunshine class, which is a class that, New Jersey would probably do something like this at some point if things go the way they're going. It's basically a group of coaches. There's like 70 schools that they have certain limitations with transfers and out of district kids and all the things you hear, talking about New Jersey. He said in our county, they're in a county outside of Jacksonville, very close to Jacksonville. He said, we actually can't take a transfer from outside the county. So Miami, or whatever, Dade County wants to go to somewhere in Naples or outside of state. If you know anything about the football down there, that can't happen where they're at. Right. They can't take a kid from out of the county. Their superintendents have agreed not to do that. So from that standpoint, like I said, Coach, I want to come down here and I want to look at you in September, and I don't want to show up and you're the Monstars.
Yeah, right.
And all of a sudden, and I wouldn't do that to you. I said, because we're not a choice school at West Deptford. All of our kids live here. We don't accept tuition students. So the guys I got are the guys that live within a couple miles of the school, and they're the guys I'm going to have in October. So what you see is what you get. I said, so I'd like to just play somebody that's playing by the same rules as me. And we kind of come to agreement. So I reached out to Joe McColgan, who's the AD of Morristown, who heads up the schedule in our league. I think he does a great job. I think his heart is in it 100%, trying to make our league, as good as possible. And I think he advocates for us at the state level. And I think our schools down here have a big voice in that department because of guys like him. And Joe, I said, Coach, I don't know if you need to match us up against somebody or if you, give us a bye week. We can opt out, whatever you want to call it. I said, but we really want to go to Florida on this week, Columbus Day weekend. And he said, Coach, that's a crossover weekend. So that works out because all the West Jersey teams are going to play their crossover games on the same weeks. And I go, well, that's perfect for us. And he said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to match you up with Winslow because I'm talking to them. He said they want to play an independent schedule, and you both are going to be opted out. So you're not going to play each other. And I actually had set up with Bill. They were going to play Cardinal Newman at Winslow. And it's funny how, and I work with all these guys to try to, contact guys in other states that help them out.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Cardinal Newman were state champs last year in Florida, but that didn't happen. And now we're going to Florida to play this team in West Nassau, and Bill's at St. Augie's. So it's funny.
And who's Winslow going to play?
But I think it's an opportunity for us to play, another out-of-state team, which I've done a couple of times in my career. And I think they're very similar to us. They got a lineman with power, 4 offers. He's 6'7", 320 pounds. He's got offers from South Carolina, Wake Forest, a lot of the, I guess we'll call them mid-tier ACC, SEC schools.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
And if you look, it's funny because you look on the way recruiting is. I follow the coach on Twitter and the program, and Syracuse, Rutgers, the schools that are in our backyard are at his high school. We're this guy, and these are schools that we, have a very good relationship with locally. Yeah. And it's kind of funny how small the world is, and we're going to go down there and compete against them, and it's a great opportunity for us.
For
That's
sure.
awesome.
Coach, you mentioned that, like you mentioned earlier in your talk there, like you're trying to, it's not exactly like college, but it really is very similar to a college travel. Just talk about what your mindset is from a logistical standpoint. Like it's Columbus Day weekend. When are you guys going to travel down? How many days are you going to take down there? And how long are you going to be down there? And what are you going to go sightseeing? Like you said, the Union City team went up to the 9/11 memorial. Do you have stuff planned to do down there as well?
So right now, we're at the mercy of the economy a little bit.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough, and we probably couldn't get it for half of this price right now. I mean, twice this price right now. We locked in our bus before the fuel got to 4 something.
It's a good move, Coach.
I want to tell you that we paid for that bus. And what's funny is I got a bunch of bus quotes, and our fact was, look, at the end of the day, if we could fly, we'd love to fly.
Yeah.
Right. But when you fly, there's a lot that goes into that. And anybody that's ever dealt with the senior trip at their school knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You got the bus driving into the airport. You got the dogs checking the bags because you don't want to go to the airport and have an issue. When you get down there, you're going to need to travel around.
Yeah.
So we're going to need a bus anyway for the duration of the trip once we get down there.
Yeah. Let alone moving all your equipment.
Different things. It basically came down to this. Do we fly out Thursday, play Friday night, have some time on the back end, fly back Sunday or Monday morning? Or do we try to travel down by bus? So the way we planned it is we're going to practice on Thursday. We're going to, clean up whatever, come back. We're going to load the bus, and we're going to take off about 6 o'clock. Okay, on Thursday. We're going to take a stop about 3 hours into the trip, and then we're going to drive through the night. It's in Jacksonville, so by car, we probably could do it in about 11 and a half hours. Mm-hmm. With a bus, I'm assuming it's a little more because you don't tend to make as good a time.
Yeah.
So we're going to drive through the night, and we're going to pull in about, let's just say 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, we're going to check into the hotel on Friday, and then the kids are going to have downtime all day.
Yeah.
So they're going to have downtime all day. We're actually staying, what's the name of it? We're staying at the beach, actually. We got awesome. Right on the beach. Because if you know where Jacksonville is, 30 minutes east is the beach, and this school is about 15 minutes west.
Okay.
So it'd be the equivalent of, I told our kids, it'd be the equivalent of staying in Ocean City and playing a game in Millville. It's not far, it's inland. So it's on the other side. So we're staying on the beach. So that way the kids have some leisure things to do. There's a fort within walking distance, some historical sites. It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
We're going to stay on the beach. We're going to do it. So we'll go over to the game field on Friday afternoon for a normal Friday practice, your pre-day practice. Be over there about 75, 80 minutes. Come back, have team dinner. Wake up Saturday morning, probably do a walkthrough or something that we normally wouldn't do, but we have extra time. We might do it on a day where we don't have school and play that night, which we have done in the past, like a game day walkthrough, like you would do in college.
Yeah.
So we'll do team breakfast, team walkthrough, a little bit of we're kind of on our own, resting, etc. And then we go over to the field, and we're going to kick off Saturday night at 6. So we'll go over to the high school about 2, 3 o'clock. We're going to play Saturday night at 6, and we have most of the kids are taking their parents. We're going to have a great crowd, I think. Mm-hmm. So for us, our support system is going to be there.
That's great.
Saturday night, God, we're praying for a win, Saturday night, the kids will have some free time. They're on their own for dinner. And then all day Sunday, they can be on the beach. And then we're going to get in the bus and come back Sunday night like we did on Thursday. Oh, and we're going to pull into West Deptford early on Monday morning. The kids will be picked up. They don't have practice. They don't have school that day, Columbus Day. My biggest concern is, do I bring them back on Monday night and we start getting ready because we played Delran on Friday? Coach Yuko and the guys have done a great job.
He's doing a great job down there, man.
Our kids, it couldn't fit in a little better because we knew it was going to be a division game. I think our kids are going to be fired up to play Delran, come back from Florida.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be, maybe homecoming for us. So there's no excuse not to be fired up. So we might come back Monday and practice. That way we don't have to wait till Tuesday afternoon. But I think it's going to be good. We ended up, the bus is 11,500. And I got 1 million quotes, and that was by far.
That's a great, It
actually was 10,600. And they called me back after I'd signed the contract and said, Coach, we actually had to borrow a bus from someone else, and the prices have gotten out of control. We're going to have to charge you an extra 900. And I said, you know what? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you what, they were 20 grand everywhere.
I was just saying, it's still a deal.
We're going to have to get hotel rooms because of the travel thing. We're only getting hotels on Friday and Saturday night, and we're allowed access to our hotel on Friday morning. We booked off. So we booked off 20 rooms for the team. We're going to travel. The bus is going to be 55 seated full. We have 4 managers. Some of the assistant coaches will drive, and parents are going to carpool down because they want to just follow the bus. Other parents are flying down the day before on Thursday and staying in the team hotel. So we sold out the team hotel. We sold out it's like 100 rooms.
Yeah.
We sold out this hotel on the beach. Parents are getting Airbnbs. And it's been great. The whole town has been really supportive because I feel like this time of year, everyone's looking forward to football. When you tell the people in your community that you're going to Florida and you're doing these types of things for your kids, they want to support it both physically and financially.
Yeah.
So it's been great raising money to pay for it. And, I think next year it'll be, hey, if we have a good experience with this team, if they want to come up to Jersey, I told them a couple things. I told them you can come up and we can play in Battle of the Beach maybe.
Yeah.
We can match up with somebody else because we have this relationship now. We can play them during the regular season at our place if you want to come up to, Philly suburbs in early October and get to go see Liberty Bell or something. I'll hook them up with something. And I told them with our district, we own our buses. Our district would pick them up from the airport. We take them places. Like these are the kind of things that I think you can do when you build these relationships.
Sure.
You try to accommodate these matchups.
Yeah.
And, or we could go somewhere else. We could say, hey, we'll come back. If they say you come back again next year, we don't care.
Yeah.
You come back and play again, or we could go to, Murbush. And I just think when I've gotten to a place like West Deptford, and I was kind of doing this as COVID happened, I was kind of getting into these kind of things. I see these baseball teams and softball teams going on playing down South Carolina spring break.
Every year.
Like me, if these baseball teams can do it, football has got a ton of support in every building. I feel like at least. Then we need to try to make this happen. And I appreciate Joe McColgan and our athletic directors that do the scheduling. And I appreciate our school district from our superintendent down, our new principal, Jason Morrell. He had rubber stamped it, even though he wasn't the principal. Our former principal, Michelle Spaventa, who's now at Bordentown. Not to give them a shout out, but I'll give her a shout out. She's unbelievable. She co-signed this stuff because we and her had the same goals. And I know how important the football program West Everett to Jason is to give these kids real life experiences that are going to make memories and they're all educational because we're learning all the time. When you're around kids and you're going places, you're learning. So I feel like all those people from the superintendent down help make this possible, and our parents are obviously pushing and they're excited about it.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. It's funny you mentioned it too, because after you had told me about this probably maybe a month or two back, and I did some digging on my own. I said, that sounds like a pretty cool idea. Let me try and see if I could pull something off like that. And I contacted a couple schools actually just down in like Southern Maryland, Northern Virginia or whatever. And I had gotten the bus quotes, and dude, your quote is great because the quote I was getting for 2 or 3 days in friggin' Maryland was about similar to what you're getting to go down to Florida. So whoever you're using for the bus company, man, that's pretty awesome. I couldn't imagine.
U.S. Coachways.
Dude, I saw some of those quotes came back, and I was like, holy crap, man. I don't know how I would even swing that. But, dude, that's awesome. You're giving those kids a great experience, man. It's going to be a lot of fun for you guys for sure.
And in that quote's everything except for I had to get the bus driver a room for 2 nights, which, we called the hotel, and I called about 3 hotels, and I think I'm like you, Coach Dale. I need to find another occupation as a travel agent because I can set these matchups up. And I said, I need a group rate, because we're going to bring everybody, and I want to be able. I want all my people in the same area. Yeah. So they said, well, we can't do that. We're like a small hotel, but we can account. So they all recommended this person, and we got to the right person eventually, and it's been great, So it's going to be tough. I tell our kids though, because we work so hard in the off season, even though we're all looking forward to the trip. We have obviously a lot of games before that, but the name of the game is to go down there and play well.
Yeah,
like all these things. Listen, and I tell you, we want to win the game. We want to win the game because we were talking about it even tonight at Princeton. I said I'm really looking forward to some of these games, but I'm looking forward because I want to win them. Like I want to win these.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun.
Well, and Florida sounds great. But it's because we're all envisioning what it's like to win.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've been in the Battle of the Beach. Just to kind of piggyback on the Battle of the Beach, Coach Bill's going to St. Augie's. So let's get back to some of the matchups. And you mentioned Winslow. I guess I don't know how the transfer stuff works anymore. You guys, you might need a astrophysics degree to figure it out. Yeah, but I did hear the rumor that Jalen Parker – he may have transferred to Camden.
I was just telling them before the show started. I saw it on Instagram, somebody posted it. It's official, I guess. So yeah, Parker to Camden.
The way those things have gone all winter, Coach Daley, it's funny. They get posted, taken down, reposted. Then they got to be verified like 7 times.
Yeah.
We got to find the Stephen A. Smith or Adam Schefter of high school football.
Coach, like you said, you need a much more advanced degree than I have to figure out the transfer rules.
So Jalen Parker is the face of Winslow. He's got every quarterback record there is in the state, I believe, that at least that we value. And now he's allegedly not going to be at Winslow. It's going to put us in a tough spot. I have been in talks with Paramus Catholic. But let's give a shout out real quick to Winslow and the fact that, number one, they came over to EHT in 2024. They played in the middle of Saturday afternoon, and they played Montclair, who's a very good program historically. They've got several guys in the NFL, which is something I've never done. So they have a lot of guys in the NFL from Montclair. And, they played them during the day. They came back last year. They played IMG. If Winslow doesn't play IMG does not play in New Jersey. They're not playing the Battle of the Beach, and they bring prestige to our event. So we put, the best public school, 14-0 in New Jersey, defending state champs, against IMG, and they played very well. They have nothing to they earned a lot of respect, I think, for the public school ball in this area, which we know is very good. We all take pride in it. Now Bill's going to St. Augs, and it's left Winslow with a little bit of a, we'll see. Like we mentioned, Coach Belton was a player there 16 years ago. They've had great players. Sean Green was there.
Yep.
Long-time career in the NFL.
Yep.
Kenny Scott was winning there.
Well, yeah, he was the one who started. We were talking about that before, too. He's the one who started the whole thing.
He had him in the COVID championship game against Holy Spirit, or semifinal game, whatever that was. In 2020, he kind of got it rolling, and Bill took it to obviously another level. So I think like Winslow historically is always very good. They have a lot of talent, and we'll figure out what's best for the event. We're definitely locked in, with those other 11 games, and we have 2 teams from New York coming down. Monsignor Bonner's going to play. I'm not Monsignor Bonner. Is that what it is? Monsignor Farrell. Monsignor Bonner's a Philly. Monsignor, I'm not good with the Catholic popes, I'll tell you that. So a public school boy here. They're going to play Farrell out of Staten Island. Farrell out of Staten Island. Their head coach, he looks like he was in the Colombo family. He's tough. Tough guy, man, let me tell you. He's as Italian as it gets. He's coming down Staten Island, and their quarterback is very good. He's one of the best players in New York. I believe he's got a Temple offer and some other offers that I would consider to be very legitimate. He's a two-way threat. He's one of the best players in the state of New York. So he's a returning player. He's going to be a senior. They're going to play Holy Spirit. And you can say what you want, but Holy Spirit's been great for us too. They played DeMatha in 2021. They were the best team in 2020. They'll play anybody.
Yeah.
We got 2 great Catholic schools. Who's going to play Millville? Erasmus. They got a running back, I think, just committed to Syracuse. I know Coach Dennis Thomas, when I talked to him a month or so ago, he was in Erasmus Hall like the day before visiting this running back. It looks like Todd Gurley. He looks like he could play in the NFL right now, or he's already had a 10-year career, grown man football. Okay, so Erasmus Hall, and if you know anything about football, you guys know a lot about football, honestly, but Erasmus Hall, I believe, lost 2 games. They lost to Iona Prep in the city championship, and Iona Prep was number 1 in New York, and they lost to Easton, PA by like 3 points, like 41-38. And I think Easton last year was 13-1. Mm-hmm. And they've got the best of Phillipsburg recently on a number of occasions. And Phillipsburg has been one of the best Group 4 and 5s in our state, for the last 10 years. They're comparable to Washington Township or Toms River North. Phillipsburg is right up there from North Jersey. So that was their 2 losses, and Erasmus Hall is very good.
They are.
And my buddy Coach Lucas at RV, because we wanted RV to be in Battle at the Beach. I think they'll be very good. He's doing a tremendous job. Erasmus wanted to come in, and we're kind of thinking about this is just so you guys get an idea. Hey, who can we get on them that's going to be a competitive game? And I'm thinking to myself, all right, Millville is going to be one of the best teams in Group 4. They lost to Winslow. Mm-hmm. RV is one of the best teams in Group 5. Coach Schatzman at Washington Township's defending 5 state champ. Atlantic City staff done a tremendous job.
Yeah, Coach Wright's the man. Yeah, he's awesome. Last
year in the Group 5 sectional final, the last 2 years, they're going to be good. So you kind of put things together, and you got to go, hey, well, I know these guys. I think these guys are going to be good. It's kind of like doing a preseason poll. who would be the good matchup. And when Coach Lucas, one of the best quotes I heard, I said, Coach Lucas, Erasmus Hall, he watched the film. He said, they look like Camden on steroids. He said, they look unbelievable. He goes, they look better than Camden. And Camden was a group 2 state champ.
Yeah.
Coach Hanson's doing a great job there. So when he said that, he goes, Coach, I don't know, man. He said, they look like Camden on steroids. He said, they're
I'll tell you what.
He said, they're unbelievable. So
Camden's going to be able to compete with a lot of schools.
So these teams coming down from, I'll say, the Northeast region, and Paramus Catholic, if you follow the transfer portal, Paramus Catholic might be the most improved team in the Big Five.
Yeah, I think so.
In those big schools, like they got the 1B quarterback at Bergen Catholic.
Yep.
Stay who could have been the starter there. They got a ton of other skill guys that are already committed places.
Yeah. They had like 6 kids with offers committed.
Winslow was playing Paramus Catholic. You're talking about, people get into top 25 in the country, top 100. There's a difference between top 300 teams and everyone else. Because some of those teams go 8-4, but they're top 300 team. Yeah. They're just playing other top 300 teams. And Winslow has been that. And I'm telling you that Paramus Catholic is that. So these are tremendous teams. They could end up in the top 50. They could end up in the top 300. But there's a clear level between the talent they have and the talent that are floating at your good public school. So these are really good programs coming in. And I'm excited about all the matchups, but that's just a little bit into how the matchups are made and how some of these teams we ended up being able to get this year.
That's good stuff, Coach. Coach, as being one of the made men of South Jersey football, right, in this thing of ours here and knowing that you're a historian of the game, I want to ask you a couple questions. You can answer them from your perspective since you've been coaching or when you were a player, because you guys are kind of from a pipeline down in Salem with yourself, Coach Dennis Thomas, Coach Kemp Carr, Coach Mont Wright, Coach Butt Robinson. Like a lot of head coaches have come out of the era of football down in Salem. So I want to ask you, either as a player or as a coach, who is maybe one of the best players that you coached or played against that comes to mind? So
you just said that. There was a stretch. There's about, 95, 90, 100 coaches. I don't know if we count Mercer County, but among South Jersey, right, there was a time where there was 4 Salem guys as head coaches. Myself, Kemp Carr, who's now at Salem, Dennis Thomas, who's the running backs coach at Millville, and Coach Montre Wright, who's now at Deptford, who was at Salem. So we have 3 right now. We had 4 at one time. Mm-hmm. So the Salem pedigree and the Salem bloodline and tradition, it runs pretty strong in South Jersey history. And obviously Jonathan Taylor is crushing it in the NFL and representing Salem, New Jersey. So it's a place that's had a great football tradition going back to the guy that coached my grandpop. He was the coach there from 1950 to 1979, Sam Venuto. He played for the Washington Redskins in the 40s. So Salem football has always been good. I'll give them a lot of love. Who's the best player I played against? And then who's the best player?
You could go that or coached. Either side of the coin there. Someone you coached against or played against that you just love their game. They were a great player.
The best player I played against. I know you asked me this earlier and you put me on the spot. So I think if you go back to, I'll tell you a couple guys that I said, man, these guys are really good. When I was a sophomore, I started and we played in Florence and we lost in double overtime in the playoffs, 15-14, in the old pit. He's called Florence the Pit. There wasn't a blade of grass on the field.
No.
There was broken bottles, nails, rusty nails. It looked like something that these kids today will never see, believe me. Something out of a book. I swear to God. And we played. It was like a Saturday game. There's no lights in Group 1 football back then, at least. Everyone played on Saturday. And there was a sophomore on the other team who was in my grade. And he ended up being, ironically, on the last public school in New Jersey to finish number 1 in the state. And that was Wally Lundy.
Wally Lundy
was unbelievable. He started as a sophomore, and there was a slew of Lundys. There was Wally, Najee, and there was a couple. There was 3 or 4 on that.
Yeah. And
he was a sophomore, and other ones were seniors. And he transferred to Holy Cross, and he was a dual-purpose guy. Like, he was the guy, he could catch the ball for 1,000 yards out of the backfield. He could run the ball for 2,000 yards. Yep. So he was really impressive. Obviously, Isaac Redmond, what he did at Paulsboro, but nobody compares to the GOAT, Kevin Harvey. Football
choice.
Jesus. If they didn't pull him out at halftime, he would have had 200 touchdowns. He had
people say that all the time, man.
101. He mostly played a half. He just was a magician. And actually, we went to Temple. We went to Temple when he played there, when they played Virginia Tech against Michael Vick. We went there and took a bus trip. And that's before you really you had cell phones or anything. So I'm going to play Virginia Tech. So the only time you saw, Virginia Tech was on ESPN. You're watching a little bit of cable, the highlights. You didn't get to, watch the highlights of the Instagram and the Twitter and the things that we have now at our fingertips. But like I said, I watch film all the time on these teams that I'll never see in person. Yeah. And I think Kevin Harvey had a couple picks that day, and he played for Temple. And so Kevin to me is the best player, in South Jersey. I thought Wally was the best player I played against. Since I've been coaching, I coached against JT, but I'll tell you a little running joke. JT, we beat him his senior year, and we lost to him in a heartbreaker his junior year. And you talk about rivalry, Salem and Pensgrove, it's the Hatfield and McCoys. There's no love lost. Believe me, we hate each other. My favorite place to play is Salem High School. The last 3 times we beat them, the old Walnut Street field, the last 3 times we played them there, we won. We closed out my last year in 2023 before I left. We beat them in 2018 when we went 13-0. They were 7-1 and went down there and beat them last game of regular season. We were 8-0. And we beat them in 2016, JT's senior year. They were 1-1 at the time, and they went 1-2 with that game. Wow. And we ended up 4-6, a rivalry game. But we were 0-2, and they were 1-1. They had this guy he could be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He's one of the best running backs in the league already. And JT did not score, and he did not score the year before. So we said JT can score a touchdown on anybody except the Pensgrove Red Devils.
There you go, Coach. That's it.
He's a man amongst boys. And after that, they won. So they were 1-2, and they won 9 straight, and they lost that. They lost the game at Rowan where the kid made the ESPN Catch of the Year.
Against Ballsboro. I remember that.
Great game. 9-26. They lost, and so he's a man child. But so many great players. I think Kevin Harvey's the best I've seen. Wally Lundy's the best I've played against, and JT is probably the best I coached against. And there's your
Coach, it's funny you say that about Jonathan Taylor. I remember being at, because the name, but I hadn't seen him in person. And then I was at the South Jersey Invitational for track and field. And it's the first track event where you have everybody seated all kind of at the same event of the season, right? So near the last heat, there's this coach who's helping a kid set up his blocks. And he's doing warm-ups with them, and he's got the tracksuit on. And I'm looking down. I'm like, who's this 25-year-old bodybuilder? Boom, takes the jacket off, takes the warm-ups off, and it was him. He goes out, smokes everyody, wins the 100. And I was like, oh, my God, dude. Like, that guy is different than what everybody else.
You guys do a tremendous job. And one of the things I know you talked about, because I watch all your shows, is you talk about how much genetics plays a factor. And these guys get an opportunity. And I'll tell you the story here. When JT, there's a picture on Facebook. You can find it very easily. So guy that went to Penn State, he was an All-American. I think it was 1970 or 1971, Lydell Mitchell. Lydell Mitchell played for the Baltimore Colts. He came out of Salem High School. He's one of Joe Paterno's first recruits. He was All-American. He scored 26, 28 touchdowns. The only guy that had more touchdowns in the regular season in college was Barry Sanders, who blew that out of the water like 30-some. But anyway, Lydell, right? So Lydell played running back for Salem in the 66 or 67, somewhere in there. And he went to Penn State, and him and Franco Harris was in the same backfield. So 2 South Jersey guys playing for Penn State. The one year they won the Sugar Bowl. Another year they might have won or lost the Orange Bowl. I don't remember. But playing for 10-win Penn State teams. They took a picture of JT standing next to Lydell Mitchell. And Lydell Mitchell is the same size as JT now at like 65, 70 years old. This was 10 years ago. And you see this man that was played in the NFL for 10 years. And when you see his picture, because you hear stories of these guys, and you're like, holy cow, he's bigger than JT is now. He looks like he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Lydell played in the NFL for 10 years. He played with Johnny Unitas a little bit at the end of Johnny's career. And he was on those really good Baltimore Colt teams. And it's a man's game. And when you see a guy that looks like a JT or a Lydell Mitchell, who's been out of high school 60 years, you see why they are as good as they are. They look like something different.
Yeah, they do.
Coach, we talked about it a little bit last week, and I know you just mentioned you love playing at Salem, but we talked a little bit about it last week, the best atmospheres in South Jersey. Give us like one or two schools that you truly love the atmosphere going into enemy territory, so to speak. Who do you think does it the best in South Jersey?
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a couple, because I've been in a lot of stadiums. Woodstown doesn't have a track around the field.
Mm-hmm.
Audubon Stadium is kind of like that. I think there's these old school stadiums where there's no track. Okay. That brings the fans closer. The Pit was like that when we were at Florence. Walnut Street had a track, but that's different. The old Ellis Field in Pensgrove was like that. The fans are literally right behind the bench in your face.
Yeah.
I think when you play at Woodstown, it is really loud. And I tell our kids, because we had a really good no-huddle offense from 17 and 19. And I said, I'm telling you, you're not going to hear me. We got to be locked in with the hand signals and the eye contact, because you might see the quarterback's, mouth. You're not going to hear anything.
Right.
And I remember one time they came over to me halftime. They go, Coach, you were right. I can't hear anything out there. It's loud. I said, yeah, I told you it's going to be loud. So I think for a small school, that's a great atmosphere. I like playing at Haddonfield. We're on the other side. It's like Monmouth Stadium where all the fans sit together.
Yeah.
But when you get a big game at Haddonfield, West Deptford, Haddonfield, everybody is over on the other side. You're kind of isolated over there, so you can hear your guys. But what you see behind their crowd, between our fans and their fans, that's an awesome venue. Their two, I think, stand out. I'm kind of an old stadium guy. I got a lot of feel for like the nostalgia stadiums. This new Salem field is great. The playing center is awesome. They got a 40-foot high video board that looks like you're in, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Florida.
Oh, nice.
But the old Walnut Street field where, the guys are, shouting through the neighborhood in the backyard, those places are hard to come by. I think Ocean City's a great venue.
Yeah, it is.
For a public school, man. What an awesome, you're on the beach.
Yep.
Had an opportunity to play there a couple times in Battle Beach, and we're going to play there again this year against Killian from North Jersey. I'm trying to think, and I apologize if I'm missing anybody.
No, it's good.
I think Delsey, when they got it rolling, that's a great environment. They pack the stands. It's football football country, and they bring out all those state championship banners. They go forever. There's like 30 of them. Yeah. When Sal out rolling, that's a great place to play. What do you guys think? I'd like to hear your comments. What do you think?
Yeah, we just talked about it last week a little bit. I said, I got to go with the Gateway Football Stadium. Angelo Natoli. No, I'm just playing it. It's a good atmosphere. I had Audubon on there. I've never actually played there or coached there, but Audubon, just that old classic feel.
Yeah. World War II, Depression era, cement stadiums, man.
Well,
Collinswood.
That's what I say. Better than anybody. Like, dude, when they got rid of that, people still shake their head about it, man.
It's like Bulldoze and Ebbets Field, man.
Right.
Yeah. Like these places are. You talk about
Coach Move said Cherokee State
and Collinswood and Camden, and Skeets Irvine, and tearing that down is crazy.
Yeah, Cherokee Stadium we mentioned, and then just what they're doing at Pennsauken with the indoor facility and stuff like that, and just the facilities over there, man. They're absolutely.
I'll give you guys one.
We can tell stories all day, but when I was an assistant, we started coaching. We took a bus ride. We took 35 guys on a coach bus. Back then, I bet the whole coach bus was probably about $3,000. Talk about prices. Yeah. This was in 2006. Went to University of Virginia, and we did the 7-on-7 at UVA. And then we did the camp, the old school camp where the kids did like triple sessions for 3 days.
Yeah, right.
We're there for 4 nights. We did the 7-on-7. So the team that won the 7-on-7, I'm going to throw another high school for you. Friendly High School, Maryland, quarterbacked by Joe Hayden. And Joe Hayden's dad was the coach.
Yeah.
And Joe Hayden was all Maryland football quarterback, went to the University of Florida and played corner for Urban Meyer on some 2 national championship teams. And then had a career in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. So Joe Hayden was coincidentally, Pennsauken went down, coached by Reggie Lawrence. And his assistant coach was Clinton Tabb. And Clinton Tabb looked like he could still put on a helmet and play. He must have just came out of Rowan maybe about 5 years before that. Now he's in the Rowan Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Whenever I see Coach Tabb, I was, 21, 22 years old, just out of college. Coach Tabb was probably 25, And this was 2006, and he was joking about how he went down to Salem to help Coach Hinson the year before a couple times, like in the summer to work. Like it was his uncle or something. He said Uncle Rob went down there. Rob told him come down. He's like, where the hell am I? I'm in the middle of nowhere. In Salem. He said helping these kids. Rob was the coach of Salem for 1 year, talking about some legends. And when I see Coach Tab, I said, Coach Tab, we used to be the young guys in the room. We were the youngest dudes everywhere. Now, Coach Tab, you're talking about Penn Salkin's facility. How long has he been there now? 15 years as the head coach? Like, we're the old guys, man. We're the veterans. And it feels like a blink ago, we were the young guys in the room.
Dude, we were talking about the other day.
The room, and Coach Wright was the young guy in the room. He's still pretty young going to Deptford. But these guys are, before you know it, they'll be the old guys in the room.
Sure. That's what we were talking about the other day, man. Like, you talk about the Coach Spittles and Coach Gushu now and like Coach Fisher and like, dude, like the guys that I grew up playing against, it's all starting to change, and now we're starting to turn into the old guys here, man. It's kind of a weird.
I was coaching wrestling for a few years at Penn Grove Group 1 school. You do it all. Track coach for 8 years. We won 3 state titles, and Billy Damiani, he's the head coach of Lower Tate. He was wrestling.
Yep.
He's turned Lower Cape May wrestling power, and he's done a great job with the football team 1 year.
Football team's doing well.
Had like historic season, won a playoff game.
Yep.
So Billy was playing, and now I'm coaching against guys. I didn't coach against Billy yet, but I'm coaching against guys that and I mentioned, how much Paulsboro and I got a chance to coach against Glenn Howard, who I got to play against, who I was a player when he coached, I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Coach Howard. If you were in this area, and I've been a Salem, Gloucester County guy my whole life, if you were in this area, I remember being a sophomore in high school and going to the touchdown club. And Coach Howard, we looked at Coach Howard like people look at Jesus or LeBron James. Like we're like, hold 63 games in a row. It's like he walked 6 inches above the ground.
Yeah.
Man was like on air. Coach Folsom was so stoic, and that's before he turned West Deptford into a 7-time champion. These guys are like Vince Lombardi when they're in the room. They're like they got the look of a football coach, chiseled.
You do. They do.
These guys. I have a great relationship with Coach Folsom. He's, other than my father and my uncle, he's by far the most influential male in my life. And then Coach Howard, I got to coach again. So I know you always scrimmage Coach Scanlon there for a few years.
Yeah.
And when I was a player, man, or a young kid, 15, 16 years old, I would worship those guys because of. I'd be afraid to even speak to them.
Yeah.
And now the opportunity comes full circle and coach against them. And in the case of Coach Howard, we beat him a couple times. One time for a sectional final. You talk about like full circle moments that you look back on, you're like, holy cow. That you when those come around, you really appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Some great guys, some great people. Coach, I always think of too when I would be in those same rooms in the touchdown club banquets as a player in high school and then coming back as a coach. Those guys don't realize, like, beyond the impacts they have in their community and where they're from, like, they impact all of us. You know what I mean? And that kind of, a man's grasp should extend his reach. That kind of impact that they could have on all South Jersey. Just really happy to be a part of this thing. And thank you very much for everything you do for our area and our region and putting on great events and marquee events and highlighting, promoting, and celebrating the game, Coach. We appreciate all you do.
I appreciate you guys. I think this is a great platform that you started. I think, believe it or not, the off season, this is the time of year where, I think we have great basketball and wrestling culture in New Jersey. But for the guys that did that, then now maybe on a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
There's a hankering for football.
There is, Coach.
This is the time of year where even the guys that maybe get away from their teams a little bit, the kids are itching. They're like, the weather's warm. Coach, they ask me every year. And I have this conversation every year I've been a head coach, because at the end of the dog days of the season where you're getting ready for playoffs and some of the young guys, are either injured and they've checked out a little bit. I tell them, I said, 3 weeks from now, you're going to be asking me. And then 3 months from now, when it's February, March, April, you have to coach, can we go outside and throw the ball?
Yep.
And I'm going to say, you're not going to get these days back ever, number one.
Right.
But we're not going to be going outside until June 15th. I feel like that date gets later every year.
Yeah.
Thank you, New Jersey. It's later every year. So I'd love to go outside, but we're not going to be able to go out and throw the ball. Yeah. So you appreciate these days, because a very short time from now, you're going to long to be back here doing what we're doing right now. That's even for myself. I can't wait, for us to get into the summer period. I'm enjoying the off season. I'm helping our track team a little bit, and I love our kids and I love our culture at West Deptford. So I love being around those young guys, and but they're just like everyone else. I'm trying to take advantage each day, because before you know it, unfortunately, it'll be December 1st and it'll all be over again.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like this that
we'll still be here. We'll still be here, Coach. And finally, like I've been trying to get Coach Move to do this for. I've been trying to get Coach Move to do this for. I said, dude, we gotta
get you guys live from Battle at the Beach.
Yes,
you're like the Pat McAfee now. Live from Battle at the Beach.
Let's go, Coach. That's what I'm talking about.
Coach, somebody else can handle Game 1, Coach. You're down there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Coach Davis,
I'm
got it for week 1.
I am booked on the state championship games, though, Coach. I gotta stay in the commentary booth for those. But for the Battle at the Beach, I'll make sure we come down there. We set up
live for Battle Beach. We need to get you live from the Glazier Clinic with guys.
So before 9 p.m. Yeah, before 9 p.m. though. After 9 p.m., it's no good.
Oh man, we're about to put on tape delay.
Yeah. Hey, listen, this has been awesome. It's everything I wanted it to be and everything I hoped it would be. First episode, Daley Move Podcast, Coach's Corner edition. We're joined by Coach John Emel, head coach at West Deptford. Coach, thanks for joining us. And if we like what we're doing, make sure you like, subscribe, share everything, and just keep be on the lookout for tomorrow night when we're dropping our live show. Coach, thank you for joining us. Best of luck to you. Best of luck to your team. Best of luck to everything at Battle at the Beach, man. And we really appreciate you being on tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. And please continue to do what you do. We all appreciate it.
Coach Move, you got something to say, right?
Man, let's find a way to win.
Let's go, baby.